On Saturday, American jets hit 140 targets inside Iran. And on that same Saturday, Iran's foreign minister was in Oman shaking hands, agreeing to keep negotiating. So both of these things are true. They happened hours apart. And if you understand why both can be true at once, you understand this entire war better than most of the people paid to explain it. So just a few minutes ago, over my Body Language Guide channel, I showed you Lindsey Graham's last 36 hours on camera. Today I'm pulling the camera all the way back because the board he left behind is moving fast. So let's start with what actually happened this week. The United States ran its third round of strikes in a single week. The military says it hit 140 Iranian military targets, the biggest round in weeks, all aimed at one thing: degrading Iran's ability to attack ships in the Strait of Hormuz. And Iran answered, not against the United States directly, but across 5 of its neighbors. We're talking about Kuwait, Bahrain, Qatar, Jordan, and Oman. I understand the UAE as well, all hit or targeted in one weekend, with Tehran claiming every strike was aimed at American military assets on their soil. That is important. Qatar intercepted missiles over Doha, over a capital city that spent this spring hosting the mediators trying to end this war. Go figure. And then the Revolutionary Guard announced that the Strait of Hormuz is closed until further notice. They fired a warning shot at a ship that used what they call an unauthorized route, and another vessel was damaged and abandoned near the Omani coast, and one Indian sailor is missing. So Washington says the strait is open. Trump said it himself. It's open as far as we are concerned. But you don't have to believe either government. Just look at the tracking data. Traffic through this strait has dropped to a trickle. Now here's the part that almost nobody says out loud. Do you know what they're actually shooting over? A lane and a toll booth. The interim deal both sides signed last month has an article about safe passage through the strait. Iran reads that article as ships must use the northern route, hugging the Iranian coast under Iranian control, and after 60 days, Iran gets to charge for it. Washington reads the same article as ships can use a southern route along the Omani coast and nobody pays Iran anything. So yeah, that's it. That's the dispute. 2 readings of one paragraph, and the enforcement mechanism is, missiles. So the question we should be asking is, why would a country that just lost a war, lost its supreme leader on the first day, and is getting hit by 140 airstrikes in a weekend, pick a shooting fight over which lane ships drive in? Well, it turns out that is the wrong question. The right question is, what does that behavior mean? Because think about what a generic, rational government in Tehran's seat would do right now. It signs the deal, reopens the strait, collects the sanctions relief, sells its oil, and rebuilds. Every incentive on paper points the same direction. But the actual government, is doing the opposite. And when a player does the opposite of every incentive on the board, the explanation is never on the board. It's inside the player. So here's my read. The regime in Tehran lost everything this year that made it look strong. The strait is the last card it holds, the last place on earth where Iran can still make the world's largest economies flinch. And a corner player doesn't fold its last card. It bets it loudly again and again, because the moment that card stops being played, the regime has to face its own people with empty hands. So the line fight was never about the lane. The toll was never about the money. We're talking about a government that needs the fight itself to be visible, because the fight is the only product it has left to sell at home. And once you see that, the whole weekend snaps into focus. Notice what Iran hits And notice what it doesn't. It hits bases in neighboring countries announced as strikes on American assets, with remarkably few casualties. It fires warning shots at container ships. It declares a straight close instead of sinking a supertanker in the channel, which it could actually do. But every single move is calibrated to be loud enough for the home audience and small enough to keep the talks alive. Even the threats at the top follow the script. Trump posts that 1,000 missiles are locked and loaded, ready to decimate Iran if anyone touches him. And buried inside that apocalyptic post is the phrase, "for a 1-year period of time, subject to extension." Subject to extension. That is not a man in a rage. That is a drafted deterrence document wearing a Truth Social costume. And on the other side, the new supreme leader, the cardboard Ayatollah, vowed that revenge must certainly be carried out. But that vow arrived as a written statement, read on state television, from a man nobody has seen in public in over 4 months. He didn't even appear at his own father's funeral. So a government that performs ferocity in writing, while its foreign minister shakes hands in Muscat, is telling you which of the two messages is actually real. So here's what to watch for, and I will put a forecast on the record. If my read is right, Iran will keep shooting at ships and keep negotiating, but it will not cross the one line that ends the talks: an American warship or mass American casualties. And within weeks, some version of the 2-lane compromise gets signed, probably with a face-saving mechanism attached, some fee dressed up as a safety arrangement so Tehran can call it sovereignty. So the giveaway that it's coming will sound like the opposite. Expect the revenge rhetoric to get louder right before the concession, because the shouting is the anesthesia for the home audience. So if instead Iran actually sinks something big or empties a base with real casualties, then I'm wrong. The corner player has decided to flip the table, and you should worry. And one more thing, because every road in this story runs through the Gulf. Qatar is intercepting missiles over its own capital while hosting the peace talks. Oman is being asked to co-manage the most important waterway on the planet. The Gulf states, all of them, are not watching this war from the stands anymore. They are engaged. They're standing on the field. They're on it. Which brings me to a question I'm only going to answer on my blog. Somebody else moved on this board this week, quietly, and nobody has said their name. But if you want my deeper analysis on geopolitics and the behavior of the people who run the world, go check my blog, thepowerpundit.com. I can say things there that I prefer not to say anywhere else. Link in description, and share this video with your family and friends so they know what's really going on. My name is Jesus Enrique Rosas. I'm the Power Pundit. Much love and bliss.